I never imagined a family dinner would end with them begging over the phone to sell their own company, but that's exactly what happened. After they spent soup spitting on my tiny storefront and laughed in my face when I mentioned profits, they mocked my business as a hobby, a side gig, even a wink and a prayer fairy dust project. Yet a week later, my assistant was calling to negotiate buying their entire company. Let me take you back. I started Luna & Co., my handcrafted candle business, 3 years ago. What began with melted wax in my garage became a modest storefront downtown, 50 square feet, a wooden sign I hammered myself, a neon Luna moon that buzzed at night. I never thought it would matter to anyone else. I was just lighting small fires in people's homes. Eucalyptus for calm, cedar for nostalgia, a holiday blend sprinkled with pine and cinnamon. It sold. Word spread. I hired one part-time assistant, then another. By year 3, I had just enough profit to pay myself, barely, and that was okay, because every time a customer came up to the counter, grinning as they inhaled the lavender scent, I felt seen. Then came the dinner. My sister Jessica invited me over to her place. Perfect suburban house, wrought iron chandelier, custom table runner that screams, "We have it together." Her husband, Mike, poured wine into stemmed glasses for everyone. I arrived with a small box of my best-selling candles, just to bring a gift, to make it feel like I belonged. Instead, they sat inside talking about their companies. Jessica works in real estate. She bragged, "We sold 3 houses this month, closed my biggest deal, $900K listing." Mike, banking, raised funds for fintech pitches. "We're not billion-dollar yet, but we're on the ladder." They threw glances at me. I straightened the tablecloth my assistant sewed. "Well," I said, choosing light tone, "Luna & Co. just finished our 4th wholesale order this week." They paused. "Wholesale?" Jessica repeated, eyebrow raised. "Yeah, 3 boutiques, 1 spa chain." Mike laughed. Soft, patronizing, adorable. "That's cute." I swallowed. Dinner started. The food was good. Chicken with rosemary, broccoli al dente, garlic mashed potatoes. We ate around my small box of candles on the table, centered like a shrine. And then Jessica offered dessert. After that success, "Are you thinking of scaling?" she asked. I said I was exploring a shared workspace, maybe another outlet. Mike sneered. "A candle shop? You really think that's scalable?" My fists clenched in my lap. I forced a laugh. "Why not?" He looked at his wine. "Not saying you're stupid, just realistic." So I didn't respond, because I knew if I opened my mouth, I'd say something I'd regret. Something like, "You don't have to know my numbers to know my worth." He said quietly, "Listen, I respect ambition, but be smart. That stuff, it doesn't pay bills." My jaw fell. I looked at him. "You didn't ask what my revenue is, did you?" He shrugged. "You're a small gig." I didn't say anything then, but I thought, I'm operating with triple your budget profit guy, and I'm doing it solo. I left early. I didn't cry, but the weight of their judgment, it sat heavy. The next day, I walked into Luna & Co. and lit a fresh rosemary candle. That scent of purpose filled the space. I pulled out my ledger. Taxes paying down, rent covered, payroll timely, no investors, no loans, just customers. And I decided then, I'd prove them wrong. That week, I asked my assistant Maria to pull all financials. I was going on the offensive. Monthly revenue, profit margins, growth rate, customer acquisition. We built a deck, the kind that says, "I'm small, but not small." We reached out to local boutiques for more wholesale. We curated a holiday pop-up contract in 3 local markets. The business was quiet, but it was alive. And then, I dropped the hint. That evening, I asked Maria to call my sister. Pretend she was interested in interior candles. Pretend she'd buy 3 cases. And see what happened. Jessica answered. Maria said the price, carefully, told her it was wholesale only. Minimum order 100 units. There was silence. Then click, no purchase. She hung up. I closed my laptop, let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Maria looked at me. I said quietly, "They need to see numbers they don't expect." A week later, Luna & Co. showed up at that suburban craft fair in front of dozens of vendors. We had lanterns, seasonal scents, holiday bows. Orders came in. They sold out of our best 3 cents in 3 hours. We left with stock almost empty and a place at the next citywide artisan show. On the ride home, Maria turned. She said softly, "Your business is serious." I exhaled. No more mockery. After the craft fair, everything accelerated. We tripled our order volume in 4 weeks. A wellness influencer posted about our cedar and mint blend, and it went viral. We launched pre-orders for winter collections, and the system nearly crashed from the surge. Maria looked at me one morning, wide-eyed, and said, "We need a warehouse." I blinked. A warehouse. For candles. That same day, Jessica texted me, "Hey, want to come by for Dad's birthday dinner next Friday? Family thing? No pressure." I stared at it for a moment. No pressure? The last time I sat across their table, they made me feel like a side gig on life support. This time, I smiled. I texted back, "Wouldn't miss it." Maria and I kept working. Luna & Co. wasn't just scaling, it was evolving. The day we turned the key, Maria spun around in the empty echo and whispered, "They have no idea who they're dealing with, do they?" I grinned. "Let's keep it that way." Friday came. Family dinner. I wore the same coat from the last dinner. Washed, ironed, worn with confidence. No need for new armor. I'd become the sword. Their dining table looked the same. Jessica wore pearls. Mike poured wine again. My father smiled at me, a bit confused when he asked, "Still doing those? What do you call them? Aromatics?" I nodded, smiling. Mike, of course, chimed in. "So, still making candles in your kitchen?" Jessica added, "I saw some on Etsy. One had glitter. Yours don't have glitter, do they?" I smiled. "Mine don't need glitter." They laughed, lightly. Mike leaned in. "Still just the one store?" Maria would have smiled at that, because by then, we had 3 pop-up kiosks, a wholesale contract with a luxury hotel chain, and had just been accepted into a subscription box with 40K monthly users. I wanted to say it, but I didn't. I just kept eating, because revenge? Revenge was already in motion. What they didn't know, what I hadn't told anyone, was what Maria had been working on all week. See, Mike and Jessica had recently bragged on Facebook about starting a joint venture, a boutique home goods brand online. They'd called it Anchor and Hearth, catchy, coastal font, airy logo, minimalist aesthetic. I'd visited the site. The products looked decent, candle-adjacent, mostly mass-imported. They were trying to ride the trend, but what they didn't know was that one of their suppliers also worked with us, and they owed me a favor. Maria confirmed it, quietly, professionally. Anchor and Hearth's cash flow was rocky. Their inventory was over-ordered and undershipped. They were desperate for exposure. Maria suggested a proposal, not directly from me, from our distribution partner, and she crafted the pitch, a buyout, full rights, no public disclosure, from a private silent partner group. The best part? The call was scheduled for Monday, the Monday after family dinner. At dessert, Mike brought out champagne. "To family wins," he said. Jessica raised her glass. "To growing businesses." She looked at me with that smug glitter in her eye. "You still doing that moon logo? So sweet." I raised my glass. "To gravity," I said. They blinked, then smiled, clueless. I left early again, but this time, I didn't feel small. I felt loaded, because they had no idea what was coming. Monday morning, Maria wore her power blazer, dialed the number, put on her headset, sat in our new warehouse space, legs crossed, voice calm. "Hi there. I'm calling on behalf of the holding group," she continued. "We're aware of your current inventory stress and your outstanding shipping delays. We'd like to offer you a full buyout, cash, contingent on you stepping out of operations and transitioning brand ownership quietly." I could hear them through the speaker. Hesitation, nervous laughs, Jessica's voice. "Wait, who are you with again?" Maria stayed poised. "Our investors prefer anonymity, but we believe in brand legacy. We want to preserve Anchor and Hearth under new leadership." Mike's voice. "How much are we talking?" Maria smiled. 6 figures. Low end, but enough to walk away clean. Pause. Jessica. "And this would all stay quiet?" Maria. "Completely." Silence. Then Jessica said what we'd predicted. "When do you need an answer?" Maria said. "Today." They called back that afternoon. Maria answered on the first ring. Jessica's voice was tight, controlled. "We'll take the offer, as long as it's quiet." Maria smiled, her voice like silk. "Of course." The documents were signed electronically that evening, non-disclosure included, transfer of ownership immediate. Anchor and Hearth now belong to us, not the shell company, not the partners, me. I didn't touch the website. I didn't change the logo. I didn't need to. I just redirected the traffic. Every visitor to anchorandhearth.com now redirected straight to Luna & Co. Every product listing they had, now filled with my candles, branded, labeled, packaged with intention. Their customer base became mine. 3 days later, Jessica called. Her voice shook. "What happened to our site?" I paused, then said gently, "You sold it." There was silence. "You?" she breathed. "It was you?" I let that land. Then, "I told you I didn't need glitter." She hung up. Mike called that night. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent an email. Simple, clear, final. When you build something with your hands, you don't mock those who get their nails dirty. You asked if I still make candles. Now you'll sell them. Maria laughed when she read it. That's colder than our wax room. But it wasn't cold. It was clarity. It was years of being belittled, dismissed, treated like my dreams were decoration instead of foundation. I had finally drawn the line, not with anger, but with evidence. 2 weeks later, Dad's birthday came again, this time at a fancy restaurant. I wasn't invited, but my candles were. Every table had one, branded, burning softly. My father called me that night. Funny thing, he said, this place smells amazing. Someone said the candles were made by Luna & Co. That's yours, right? I smiled. That's me, Dad. He was quiet for a moment. Then, softly, I'm proud of you. We became what I always wanted, a home for handmade. One day, a woman came in, early 30s, nervous energy, said she used to work with Jessica and Mike. She held a candle close to her chest. I don't know what you did, she said, but you're everywhere now. They don't talk about you anymore. I smiled. That's okay. My work speaks louder. Now, I walk into our warehouse, light flickering through the skylights, shelves lined with creations I poured my soul into, and I feel peace. Not vengeance, not gloating, just peace. Because the best revenge isn't spite, it's success, it's grace, it's building something so rooted in who you are, it doesn't just survive their doubt, it feeds on it. So to Jessica and Mike, thank you. Thank you for underestimating me. Thank you for laughing, because you taught me that quiet power is still power. And you taught me something else too. If they laugh at your table, build your own, then make them sit there and serve them what you built, candle by candle, flame by flame. Subscribe for more dark, faceless storytelling. And tell me, what would you do if the ones closest to you couldn't see your light until it burned down their empire?